A farm under threat. A historical landmark at risk of destruction. A fight to preserve a piece of history for future generations. Every once in a while on this show, we issue a call to arms, a rallying cry for the Napoleonic Avengers to assemble. Tonight, the bugles blare and the dispatch riders gallop as efforts are underway to try and safeguard the future of a landmark at the heart of a Waterloo campaign battlefield. This is the fight for Quatre Bras, protecting Gemioncourt. Up next on the Napoleonic Wars pod. Hello and welcome back to the Napoleonic Wars pod, where you will have noticed this is a short and simple installment, more a bulletin than a typical episode. Earlier this week, it was brought to my attention that Gemioncourt Farm and 8.5 hectares of surrounding land, quite literally in the middle of the Quatre Bras battlefield, is up for sale. Now, if you have a casual €2 million sitting down the back of your sofa, then you might be tempted. But if not, then like me, you might also be worried. Those of you who follow discussions of the campaign and these battlefields closely might know that this is not the first time in recent months that a chunk of the Quatre Bras battlefield has been sold off. At the crossroads itself, there used to sit a farm of Les Quatre Bras, a site that still had signs of battle damage, which was used as a field hospital during the battle. That rich history is now gone, because a few years ago it was bulldozed to make way for a modern block of flats. And straight away, you will understand the concern that history might repeat itself. Gemioncourt matters in the story of Quatre Bras. It was initially occupied by two companies of the 2nd Nassau Regiment, Saxe-Weimar's men, who had played a key role the night before in holding the crossroads of Quatre Bras, and would be integral again when it came to holding Papelotte during the Battle of Waterloo. The farm was taken by Foy's 1st Brigade under the command of Germain at around 3 to 3:30 p.m. The preparations for its defence hadn't been made, and the farm hadn't actually been loopholed, so it wasn't initially the scene of the fiercest fighting. Yet as the French continued to press a very fragile Allied line, the Prince of Orange, who was in command whilst Wellington had ridden to liaise with his Prussian counterpart Marshal Blucher, realised that more needed to be done to buy time. He therefore ordered the Dutch 5th Militia and 3 companies of the 27th Jaegers forward in a counterattack to retake Gemioncourt. That attack failed, but it did buy the Allies desperately needed time as they awaited reinforcements. Gemioncourt was eventually retaken by Hanoverian troops at the end of the battle, with its recapture symbolising the extent to which Quatre Bras ended as a stalemate for the Allied and French armies. The landscape around the farm itself also matters in the Quatre Bras story. The surrounding heights were occupied by Dutch artillery, the ground around it defended by the 27th Jaegers of Bylands Brigade, and the boggy ground of the dip that Gemioncourt sits in, and which is now up for sale, helped to slow the French advance, again helping to buy the Allies time. In the context of why the French failed to break through at Quatre Bras and win the campaign on the second day, Gemioncourt is a key part of the story that leads to Waterloo. If you visit the battlefield of Quatre Bras today, your tour guide should ideally start to the south of Gemioncourt and work their way northwards with you, telling the story of the battle as it unfolded and the French gradually pushed the Allies back before being checked. In other words, if your tour guide is doing their job properly, Gemioncourt should be at the heart of your tour. With the farm being so central to the battlefield and being one of the few remaining sites not already flattened or repurposed, there is a real danger that a significant landmark is about to disappear. We know that those fears are grounded in precedent, and the listing online doesn't do much to put minds at rest. It acknowledges the potential of the site as an agricultural or equestrian business and notes that it could be used as a historic site. However, it also flags its potential as a property development. In truth, it is impossible to know what the future holds for Gemioncourt, but if recent history on the battlefield is anything to go by, preparing for the worst would not be unreasonable. Unlike the Waterloo battlefield, this site is not listed on heritage or protection registers. The estate agent listing does not flag any restrictions on the land's use. It is entirely possible that Gemioncourt might end up being the latest casualty at Quatre Bras. Yet with this uncertainty comes an exciting, once-in-a-generation opportunity. And it's an opportunity that some of your favourite guests on the show are seizing. In recent days, there has been feverish activity by myself, Liam, Luke, Beatrice de Graaf, Graham Callister, Alex Meek-Buridze, Catherine Bayford, Severin Angers, and Peter Malloy, who have all come together to set up Heritage 1815, an interest group devoted to trying to preserve the heritage of the Waterloo campaign. This committee is now seeking to work with local and international stakeholders to identify a sustainable way of safeguarding the future of this historic site. This is complicated work. Local laws need to be taken into account. Partnerships need to be formed with local organisations. Major financial backing would be needed to secure the site. And above all, flexibility is needed in the vision of what the future holds for Gemioncourt. The bottom line is that we believe the site should be preserved and conserved in a way that ensures it is financially viable. Put another way, Gemioncourt and its surrounding 8.5 hectares needs to be able to make the money to support itself and keep those who shelled out to buy and develop it content. And that could mean many things. Equestrian developments like riding schools, after all, that's what they did at Papelotte. Agricultural ones like we have at La Haye-Sainte, or historical ones like we see at Hougoumont. The most crucial thing is that we do what we can to stop the bulldozers from wiping Gemioncourt off the face of the map and seeing a hideous block of flats rise in its place, as we saw at the crossroads. Whatever the solution, it needs to work for the locals out in Belgium, with a moral sense of buy-in at a local government and community level. Heritage 1815 is not a bunch of historians trying to lay down the law and sit on their high horses dictating on how people should run their lives. This is a group with practical experience and knowledge of working in history and memory, who can provide the contextual knowledge and crucially the passion to drive an imaginative and exciting vision forward. This is, as I say, a once-in-a-generation opportunity to protect a piece of Napoleonic history. We have lost other parts of the Quatre Bras battlefield. If we drop the ball here, and this site is built over, we, the fans of the period, will spend the rest of our lives lamenting an eyesore that is a blot on a place of bravery, suffering, and sacrifice. Now is the time for us to make our voices heard and strain every muscle to try and deliver a bright future for Gemioncourt that ensures its history remains intact and is never forgotten. So what can you do to help? Well, this is actually incredibly simple. We are not asking people for money. We are not setting up crowd funds. We are thinking longer term than simply trying to buy the place and then work out a solution afterwards. Our vision is for a solution that is more stable and sustainable. So if you, like us, care about Quatre Bras, care about the history of the site, and want to help preserve it, please do these three really simple things. Firstly, go to heritage1815.com and sign up to our newsletter. There is a small form at the bottom of our homepage which just asks for your email address, nothing more. It will enable you to stay up to date with our progress and gives us a support base which we can build upon. Secondly, follow us on social media. We are on Twitter, Facebook, and Blue Sky. Just search for Heritage 1815. I'll also be putting the links in the description to this episode. And finally, tell a friend. Share the website, our social media profile, or even this episode with someone who you think might be interested. Help us spread the word amongst the people who care, so that we can speak with one voice, a louder voice, that will demonstrate the importance that this site holds for history lovers around the world. We will be back very soon, but until then, this has been the Napoleonic Wars Pod on behalf of Heritage 1815. Take care, folks. Stay well, stay safe, and thank you for your support.